Welcome to another segment of Self Benefits of Holistic. I'm your host, Mia Saenz. And in this, what seems to turn out to be a very funny segment is between me and Vanessa Simpkins. And so we've been laughing because we've been laughing. So welcome, Vanessa. I hope that it's okay to start it like this.
Absolutely. The more honest, transparent, authentic, absolutely. I think it's so nice to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. So you have a lot of amazing things. One reason why I asked you on was I've seen your advertising and stuff for your mastermind groups when you were living in Hawaii. Now you're in La Jolla, California.
Laguna.
Being this bikini coach, business coach, wearing a bikini. And it's very cool because it's very much like, come on, let's run these big companies and have fun. And I love that.
Thank you. I feel that, we're creating everything in this world. So, why not have what you want? And I feel, I was looking at this over the holidays and, going through this creative kind of life and death cycle, which is a whole new concept to me. Women have, career cycles. Wow. No one told me that. And I was looking at, how is it I've been able to live all around the world? I've lived in Hawaii, I lived in the beach, I've lived in Costa Rica, I lived in Thailand when I was 20 years old, doing yoga for 3 hours every morning with this guy that looked like Osama bin Laden in a little beach bungalow for $4 a night, And I mean, I've had a wild life. I was in Japan when I was 20 years old. I spent 21 and 22 away. And I started asking myself, how is it that you've had this, gypsy travel lifestyle? And, what is it? How have you been able to do this? I've asked myself this question. And, this year especially, I'm feeling, as I feel like a layer's been taken off of the top. We're creating this new consciousness of light, of divine light. And we're forced and squeezed into our truth. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by it is, the more we resist what it is we really, really want, the more intense life is getting. And until you realize that, hey, there's nothing to be afraid about, the truth will set you free. And so what I found is that when I open that door of what I really, really want, everything is there, all the opportunities, the clients, you yourself now, you've been on this journey, this personal empowerment journey. And I love to live in a bikini. And, right outside window here, some beautiful palm trees, the beaches, like right across the alley there. And I go for sunset walks. And so why not? Why buy into this, why buy this brainwashing of how you're supposed to live your life? Why not really just connect with what's true for you and follow that? And, that's what I hope, that's my intention to inspire other people. Is just follow your truth, follow your intuition, and give yourself permission to do that. And I feel really blessed that I am able to have this awareness. And I think because of my father, he was an artist. And so I wasn't raised with the normal 9 to 5 kind of structure.
That's awesome. So share with us one of your most fun, empowering things that you're doing right now, and that's your Soul Sister Mastermind.
Yes, I'm super excited. So, last year in November, I ran a women's spiritual retreat called the Ultimate Goddess Way in Kauai, Hawaii, where I had been living for about a year and a half. The most phenomenal place on the planet. I mean, it is. Every island has, its chakra, and, Hawaii is the oldest. It's like the grandmother. It'll like slap you into consciousness and then tuck you under its skirt, It's very kind of gentle in its awakening, but, still intense. And it's just a magical vortex. Absolutely love living there. And, people in marketing online, this bikini business coach, yes, I teach sales. Yes, I talk about confidence and, owning your value. And all of these, huge hurdles I've had to go over myself. My first book was called From Bankrupt to $900 a Day Selling Mops. And, if you're watching this and you want to find more, you can find everything on my site. It's called takeyourpowerback.com. So run a retreat in Kauai and realize that women just want to come and experience this, lifestyle, play and prosper in paradise. And I loved the retreat. I was like, I need this, I need more of this in my life. Yoga and the beach in the morning, massages, downtime and away time from the rest of the crazy busyness and the Twitter and the Facebook and the LinkedIn and the this and the that and the everything else. I had just written my second book, and so I just realized, wow, how can I do more of this, of having the soul sister time? And what I was watching was a women really just unfurling and the masks falling off, and women just coming into this magic of being. with each other and watching and witnessing the magic and the miracles. Because when women get together, we naturally nurture each other. We naturally network and, just help support each other. And it's a beautiful process to witness and also to be a part of as a woman. And so, over the holidays, I was like, okay, well, how can I turn this into a business? And I got really clear, all of these pieces dropped in about hosting, a continuous mastermind, a year-long program. It's an event. It's a mastermind. It's a gathering. It's a tribe of women called the Soul Sister Tribe, the Soul Sister Mastermind. And it's for spiritual women visionary leaders. So why I'm so passionate about it is because, in the olden days, back when there were tribes, we all hung out as women together, and, someone got ill, you fed their kid, you pressed whatever. And now in the normal, Western world, women are alone. Yeah, they're married and they're in their houses with their spouses and their dogs and their kids, but they're alone in the house. Yeah. And then they're expected to go out into the world, and they're judged and promoted based on masculine principles, masculine values, masculine way of operating in the world. So there's literally no real place in society, or very few places, where women can gather and thrive naturally as women do. So that's why I created this mastermind, and it's a gathering for spiritual women visionary leaders who have these big purposes in the world, and sometimes it's terrifying, and you're highly spiritual, and you're highly heart-centered, and you just don't want to deal with this whole competition bullshit, and you think there's got to be a better way to run my business. I just want to be with, women and naturally share. And so that's, what it's all about. And we're gathering here once a month in Laguna Beach. The first one's happening March 21st and 22nd, which I'm really excited about. We have, I think, 10 women that are coming so far, and a Facebook group that's kind of just taken off like a train on fire. So if you're interested, or if you want to know more, you can find out more about it at soulsistermastermind.com.
Also, her credits will be on at the end, as they always are, so they can find you there too.
Thank you. And then what I'm going to do is just, have a place for women to gather once a month, here on Laguna Beach. It's so gorgeous, escape the busyness of life. We're always on the tail end of this long to-do list. What if we just, take some time out for ourselves and nurture ourselves and have fun and play and network and build those relationships and share, what we know. I know amazing things can happen in that spirit. So, yeah. And then we also go on spiritual retreats. I'll take you guys to Kalalau and to Kauai. Come on down. This is my give. And everyone else in the group can, share their mastery, can share their value, can share, what is true and amazing and, what is real for them. And I think together we can do so much more. So that's awesome. What I'm really excited about, creating.
That's great. You can feel it, yeah. So let's talk about the creative cycles of life and death. And then there's also another aspect of how it's linked to entrepreneurship.
Wow, this is a beautiful question. So during this past Christmas, I went through a long, dark night of the soul, death. I swear, I had a death. It's one of those wake-up moments when you look at your business and, I just published a best-selling book. It's called Take Your Power Back Now. It's a great book. And it was, I moved here at the same time, so I had all of these endings and beginnings all kind of shoved into one, and I woke up and realized that I had, where did my creativity go? Where was my passion? Where was my creativity? And all this book writing and striving, and I wound up at an art store on the 23rd of December thinking, I should buy a present for someone because I really don't feel in the holiday spirit. And, I realized that I had put my creativity and passion on the back burner and all this, busy doing. And kind of hit me all at once, and I had this big emotional breakdown in the art store, and made a decision that 2015 was going to be, based on if it's creative and I'm passionate about it, I'm doing it. If I'm not, I'm not doing it. This is the filter. And then I picked up this book, which is an oldie but a goodie, by Clarissa Pinkola Estes, called The Women Who Run with the Wolves. It's all about, women coming back to their wildness. And she says, I knew I would need this book. I've had it on my shelf for one of those books you have on your shelf for a year, and you're like, one of these days.
Yeah. When I get to it, yeah.
Right. So I took this book with me from Hawaii to California, and I opened it, and she was talking about when women are cut off from their creative expression, they're also cut off from their intuition, which is the voice of God or source or spirit working in your life. And I thought, oh my God, that's so true. How do you know which decisions to make if you're not following, if you can't hear your intuition? And I'm like, how did I how did I, forget about creativity? My father was a famous artist. My grandfather, famous artist. His brothers were coming from like a long line of famous creative artists. I mean, I have a letter from the Queen of England thanking my family for the contribution to Canadian art. My grandfather, my great uncle founded the Canadian Cartoons Association. Like all these crazy artists in my family. And it's like, whoop, that didn't make it, on my list. So I started by, really going back to exploring creativity and, following implicitly my intuition. And how this, I feel really passionate about it because, again, during this long dark night of the soul, I was questioning everything. Mm-hmm. My business, my motivation, what was true for me, my face in the world, Miss Business, Vanessa, gotta be a leader, can't show any, downsides. Everyone's sending emails for the holidays. I'm like, I don't want to do anything, so I'm not going to do anything. And I realized that whenever I'd follow my intuition in life, I had a magical life. And I also realized I started looking at my clients. I have a 10K and 30-day coaching program. It's an online mastermind, which is a beautiful thing just to see people, community building online. This is part of, the Soul Sister Mastermind, kind of the beginning stages of it, watching community grow online. I started asking myself, well, who are the clients that get the best results, that have the biggest income jumps, that, really take off? And it's the women that I help just get clear on what they want, right? Mm-hmm. Open the door. So how many times, we have this idea, we think it's good, but we don't really know, and right? We judge it based on, can I do it? Is it right? And right behind that, boom, everything explodes. Mm-hmm. And so, and then of course, I've helped them with some sales structures and things like that. So I have a long history of, sales and marketing background, but it was the original women who were following their intuition. And the women who were kind of trying to latch on to me and like have me do everything for them, wasn't working for them. It was because right. I follow my intuition, and this is about, okay, now I hire this person. Okay, now I try this. Okay, my intuition says to do this. Okay, I do this. And it takes me around the world, and I have a flourishing business because of that, because of listening to my intuition. So I feel that, this new movement or this consciousness on the planet is really about the feminine rising, this creative insurgence, this intuition and tuning, which is, the voice of God or spirit, and tuning into that. And really, this is true. Hey, this voice of wisdom inside me, this deep inner knowing, this, it's calling us to really own that. And it can be terrifying, right? Because you're battling your ego, you're battling your mind, and the fear and the worry and the doubt, and what will they think of me, and oh my gosh, and if it fails, and right? So this is like, you have your truth and you have the ego, and which one are you going to feed? Mm-hmm. And so really owning and listening and hearing your intuition, acting on that, creates successful business. That is entrepreneurship. Based on their creative expression, right? We are by our very nature people that don't follow the rules. I've never worked in a corporate job, ever, right? I couldn't even imagine. I don't even, I pray for people who have 9-to-5 jobs. I listen to them. I just listened to the way they talk. Yesterday I was at the, nothing wrong with that, but it's not me. And thankfully, thank God, so and I also get a lot of women who are making the leap from corporate or from a 9-to-5 and have this deep calling. And again, it's becoming very pressurized. When you have that call in there to do something different, you don't answer it. It is like, it's like part of you's dying if you don't.
Right.
So I feel really passionate about, helping people make that bridge and make that leap, and, just to inspire you that you can do it. And the more you say yes and show up, amazing things happen. And then you prove to yourself, oh shit, I can trust my truth. Oh, I can embody that. And in really acknowledging that truth of what you want and expressing that first to yourself and then to other people, magical things happen. Like this Soul Sister Mastermind, it's come together. And it came together by, I'm in the void. I don't know what's going on here. Anything can happen, restructuring everything.
Yeah.
And so I think that, a lot of people that are used to structure and 9-to-5 and, this is a sure guaranteed paycheck at the end of doing this XYZ task. So entrepreneurship is a totally different, can of worms. And it's beautiful, and it's magical, and it's messy, and it's all of that. And so that's how I feel that
That's great. Yeah.
creativity is connected with it.
Tell us about your book, your new book, Take Your Power Back.
Take Your Power Back Now is a story of how I escaped an abusive relationship, emotionally abusive, turned once physically abusive, and how I started my business. I was not in a 9 to 5, but I was selling mops. I was making $1,000 a day, which sounds great. Even that company. I spent 4 years traveling around the world, selling mops and lint removers, and like the ShamWow person you see on TV, right, at late night. I was that girl with like knives and mops. You're like, ladies and gentlemen, in 2 minutes we're handing out free gifts, and everyone running over, And I'd put on a show and make people laugh, and they'd buy these mops. And I got very, very good at it. I became the best in the company. I wrote my first book about it. And then I still had the book out. I was still stuck in the mop job. And so how does this connect with Take Your Power Back Now? So finally, I launched my business, and I had, I was in, it's kind of like, your mindset kind of traps you into so many areas. It's really your mindset. So I was in this, relationship, and launched across a hotel room in a drunken rage one night, and escaped the hotel room, wound up in the taxi, and I was like, holy shit, I just became one of these battered women that you read about in the newspaper. I'm this tall, successful woman, smart, I think, how that happened to me. And my next question was, God, why is this happening to me? And the answer was immediate, and the answer was so you can help women not fall into the same pattern. And then I said, because for years I've been pleading with God, like, show me what's my purpose, I want to serve, like, I'll do anything, just, I don't want to sell anymore these fucking mops, I was in hotel rooms, like, so alone, and my sister was like, one day you'll be on stages, Vanessa, and telling stories and making women laugh about these mops. We'll see, and she's right, because, but back then, when I was in it didn't feel that way. So that started my own healing journey, and looking at how I had created, how I had decided, as well, create realities, what were the decisions, what were the thoughts that were going in my mind that had kept me in a relationship that was so restricting. And, starting to look at that journey and take my power back, and starting to trust my intuition and trust God, source, spirit, creator, and make my own money and launch my business and move to Hawaii and, work through all of these relationship patterns. That's what the Take Your Power Back Now is all about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Share with us your learning of self-love.
Wow. Yeah, that's where everything starts. And it's a continuous journey. So my mom is a hoarder. And I grew up with a lot of shame, a lot of, insanity, and a lot of her values. This is like, your closest relationship you have is your parents. So my dad was a famous, brilliant, genius artist. So, alcoholic, gambler, gambled away all the family's money, and, just insanity. So I come from a household of total insanity. And so, I started from beyond the bottom when it comes time to self-love. And, it's still like an everyday check. Hey, check, Vanessa. Hey, check right now. Are you forcing to do things, or are you really being kind to yourself? And I'd say, self-love really starts with opening that door, giving yourself permission, to want what you really want. And a lot of clients come to see me and they're like, I want to make more money. I'm like, great, stop working, go to the spa. And they make money,
You know what's so funny about that is, I'm a transformational self-love teacher. So what I find very, very funny is people would rather, of course, the gym memberships, all these are important, a nutritional coach, business coach, but they forget about themselves, and they don't find the value in either shifting and moving towards self-love or caring about themselves. They don't make the connection that if they love themselves first, everything else would be so much easier. Your workouts, your food, because you'd be honoring yourself. any type of medical issue, you'd be able to get through it more with peace and love. It's it, I don't want to say
It
it's
changed.
humorous to me, but it's
It's the foundation of everything, and we don't get taught that. There's no school that teaches,
exactly.
if you love yourself. There's nobody that really teaches that in the, foundation called education. And I believe that that's really power. That's personal power. There's a wonderful book that I'm doing right now. It's called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, and it's all about taking an hour in the morning for yourself to do all these things: journal, meditate, affirmations,
I do that.
visualization,
I do that.
right? Take yourself first. And I tell you what, these are things that, okay, I've been doing some of them, but committing to doing it every day. Wake up at 5, do it until 6. Man, you hit the day like on hyperdrive.
Yeah.
And getting massages, regularly. Going to spa. There's an amazing spa here, the Montage. Oh my God, it's fantastic. I love spas. And I noticed that, when I go and I do that, it's contrary to what they teach you, to go out there and, hammer it out and get it done and produce. And it's contrary to that. But now we're looking at this new feminine leadership, and it's all about being in that vibration of ease and joy. And, you can't do that without self-love. And when you are in that flow, all of these things just show up.
They do. It's really cool. I take 2 hours a day for me in the morning. I set my schedule so I don't open up unless it's for Europe. I don't open up until 11. Sometimes 10 if it's for my European clients, but I try to space it so that, I only have 2 days of if they can't come in at 11, on Skype. So it's really, really important, and it does shift everything. It totally does shift it all, and it's brilliant. I'm glad you brought that aspect up in the self-love part, because people don't get it until they get it. It's that saying, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, and it's
Powerful.
it's very, very powerful.
And it's the leading movement right now. And women around the world are waking up to this. And some of them, it's a hard, like I'm saying, it's squeezing you. That love, God's love, source of love for you to be the biggest part of you, loves you so much that it's like, crashing down things that are just not in alignment with you.
You know how Gandhi has said that women of the Western world will be the leaders of our planet. And really what it is you hit it on the head right there. It's the self-love movement that we're in is what's going to, because when we understand how we are loved and how we love ourselves, we don't want wars. We don't want borders. We don't want these ties that keep us entrapped. We want to be free. We want to have peace with people. We want to live that way. So I never really put the two together until just this moment, what he's actually talking about and how powerful it truly is.
And I do believe that too, that we are the leaders here because we decide what the standard is. We say, we teach our children and we teach our partners what is acceptable, what is not. That's not going to work for them anymore.
Yeah.
We're the ones to decide, because we're so, I feel, more in touch with our intuition. Men have not as much a problem, I think, owning that. Women...
You know what's really crazy? Okay, so, and I just have to bring this up because you brought men up. I am one of the leaders in the self-love movement as far as teaching and all that. And so I now have men begging me. I mean, they've been begging me to teach them. And they come to me. So now I have a research project on how I can best serve a man. I used to coach men and all that and teach men stuff, but it was relationships and that kind of stuff. And so I'm not a man. So their core essence is different. So it's really beautiful that men, first have come to me, and now we've created this research project to teach men because they don't quite get it like us. You know what I'm saying? They shut off where we want to open up. So when we can open them up and they want to open up is when they'll get in touch with exactly who they are. Just like us. I mean, we are so similar, but yet so different.
Yeah.
So,
and what you said that I love, Mia, is that, they can open up to the truth of who they are. And that this piece on truth is really the foundation. You know, it says it in the Bible, and the truth will set you free. To the, like, I've been looking at simplicity here. Like, I've been looking at how profound simple things are very recently in the last 2 months of my life. And this statement, and the truth will set you free, wow, like to the nth degree, the truth of how you're feeling, like what do you really feel? You know, and do you have the courage and the capacity to share that with yourself first? Most people don't. I mean, I raised my hand, you know. I've been on this journey for years. I've been doing personal development since, you know, my early 20s. There's always more to learn, but I feel like, you know, this simple truth is so powerful. And when we align with that the truth of who we are and what we stand for and what feels good and what doesn't feel good, it does set you free. You know, it's the highest expression of love is the truth. You know,
and it's beautiful.
It is. It's authentic.
Yeah.
So, for example, I went into the coffee shop the other day, and I don't know if you can see these eyelashes. I wear these fake eyelashes. Okay, I love them. That's just feminine. Eyelashes, nails, pedicure. Yeah. Time. Done. This is like a not question about it. It is done. So I go into the coffee shop, and the woman's like, "Oh, wow, your eyelashes are fantastic." I'm like, "Oh, it's probably because I just cried," you know. I had this like emotional kind of explosion, and it was great. It was a human moment. It was beautiful with this woman, and we were talking. We were just seeing, you know, ourselves as mirrors, and it's beautiful. And I could have, you know, lied, or I could have not shared that, but there's the truth, and it exploded this beautiful conversation and interaction in the coffee shop, and other people jumped in. And it was like, wow, look what happens
when we're free to speak who we are. Exactly.
With the ego. See, this is where we're coming into consciousness now, because the ego doesn't want you to do that. It wants to have this nice, you know, hey facade, and everything's cool, and I'm on top of things, and we have a reputation to uphold, and, you know, needing approval and control and safety and all of that shit, right? It's not true. So this is where, you know, we're really bridging, you know, this awakening, opening to this new consciousness, which is about letting love lead, I think.
Beautifully said. Thank you. And absolutely. And, you know, I think part of the research project with the men is their ego tends to be at times very powerful. So absolutely breaking through that.
Well, and I think
shifting through that.
And I think, you know, I heard somewhere that, you know, people that have, you know, done a lot in the world have big egos. You know, and which is good to have too.
But it also is how you want to see yourself. I remember shifting many times in my life where I've had a ton of money and have been able to have my makeup hand created and colored perfect match, and, you know, before they even started doing that, to where I didn't have a lot of money, and how I would watch myself over the years, how I would act or interact with people. And I realized this last time when I had a shift in my life about 7 years ago. I said, you know, Father, I will always work on being, you know, I always want to be humble. I just want to serve. And many of us feel that way. And I realize it's not that I want to be like pushed down in the ground. I just want to be who I am and give love. And when we come from that place, our ego, no matter how big we are, isn't going to get in our way. Granted, we have moments where we're hyperactive and we say things we don't mean, but as long as they're like minimal in our year experience, you know, like once or twice, even that much is too much in a year. But it's just watching ourselves. Like you said, it's the consciousness being aware. It's totally our awareness of that.
Yeah, and it is our choice ultimately. Like you said, you know, we can choose, you know, to feed that ego, to feed the fear. There's a profound quote that I read coming out of my friend's bathroom. I mean, it's simple, not rocket science, but a reminder, you know, and it said, when you come to a journey, when you come to a place in your journey, when you have to choose between love and fear, choose love. And it applies to personal self-love. It applies to business. You know, are you taking a decision right now in this moment today based on your vision being true or the fear, the lack, the limitation?
It's all a choice. It's a total choice. Absolutely. Okay, we're out of time, but we got to hear your free gift for us because you're so fun.
Thank you. I have my first book, which it's a rock star book. I think it's a raw, and it's easy to read. It's 97 pages. It's called From Bankrupt to $900 a Day Selling Mops. Big shifts in here around owning value, around selling without selling, about being in your power, about sales and spirituality, how to sell without selling. It's great for spiritual entrepreneurs. Really, really awesome. It comes with some cool video trainings, bonuses, audios, meditations, all of that.
Awesome.
And you can get the PDF copy for free. If you go to this website, it's takeyourpowerbacknow.com, takeyourpowerbacknow.com/free book.
It's also in the daily email where they get their gifts from.
Yeah.
So, yay. So thank you so much. Share with us one last piece of juicy goodness before we say goodbye to everyone.
One last piece of juicy goodness is just that I love you, and you are exactly where you're meant to be, and there is, the acceptance is a gateway,
That's awesome. Did you hear that, everyone? You're loved. You are.
You are loved. You're exactly where you need to be, and, the acceptance will get you everywhere. Acceptance of your space right now, not the beating yourself up, but, I'm here. This is okay. This is perfect, and what do I do now from here will get you everywhere. And I'd love to connect with you, too. Please feel free to reach out and find me on all the social channels, Vanessa Simpkins on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and takeyourpowerbacknow.com.
Yay. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's so nice to be with you guys today.
It's nice to have you. And thank you all. We'll see you in another segment. Bye.